32 ticks following, so they are swallowing. Monkey is swallowing, snake self swallowing. Next, a swallow 2 will fly and come and swallow. You're ever swallow in a hollow gallow, making a whole lot of halabaloo. Jale kalu, we know say you chop the money some, so give me the loot. Do you really want a revolution or just your turn? Cause if you really want a revolution, all this for band. Or you go shut out, they rig the system to forever fail us. Syllables and languages we learn, they designed for us to distrust us. Hey, of course.
Hello everyone, greetings here from Lagos, Nigeria, and I'd like to welcome you to the poetry segment of the Ake Arts and Books Festival 2020. My name is Wana Udobang. I'm a writer, a poet, and performer right here in Lagos. I got the privilege and opportunity to curate the poetry section of the festival. And some of the reasons that we chose a lot of the poets are because they were speaking to the times, they're using their voices, they're electrifying, they're saying things that make us think, that move us, that shift us, that just, let us know that it is African time and our time is now. For us, African time is a call to arms. It's a chant. It's a movement. It's not just a moment. It's so much more. Some of the poets you're going to hear from hail from Uganda to Senegal to Jamaica, South Africa, and of course here in Nigeria, and even North Africa. This poet hails from Ghana, just next door to us here in Nigeria. I've been opportune to share the stage with her on many occasions, and she is incredibly special. Her name is Poetra Asantewa.
Some African dreams are made up of white ambitions, of bank accounts plump enough to accelerate a departure to Canada, of jumping the class hierarchy to the top of the political ladder so they too can have their share of the national pie. Of opportunities overseas that afford earnings hefty enough to own land and property back home, of putting their countries on the map via validations of headlines in white papers, but I only dream of being a house pet. With a house built in my name before my arrival, an identification tag that will smoothing out the creases in my movement, allowing easy access to my neighbor's backyard. I dream of a healthcare plan that predates my illnesses, and a care kit with a supply seemingly infinite to me because I have been planned for. Oh, how I dream of landing softly. All I ever dream of is to be cared for, of being part of a community that laughs and learns and nurtures softness in our bones, where women aren't used to violence by the time they reach adulthood, where women aren't praised for surrendering to submissiveness, where women do not have to sacrifice their femininity on the altar of blackness for a chance to be considered human. And the people and leadership do not make me dream up new ways of strangulation. In my country, Jesus is used as a yardstick for how hard the oppression wheel should be pedaled. But the thing is, Jesus comes back from the dead resurrected every time. Still wounded, but still whole, all flesh and bones, but we stay dead. Reluctant ancestors for a generation that will one day call us weak. The journey from egg to butterfly is a growth that astounds you, but the climb from one of us to one of them is an unwholesome decay. The trauma of witnessing a metamorphosis from person to politician, how power makes them selectively deaf, softens their rage, decomposes what comes out of their mouths. We must feel relieved, shouldn't we? Hold the frustrations of insouciant leadership in our bellies, lest we miss the fortune of belonging to a country where we are all black. Black lives matter to African leaders, but only in America though. How inconvenient to not have skin that can camouflage. Some African dreams are made up of white spaces. Prepped for functionality, propped for tokenism. A scene from a Hollywood movie. A bottomless cash pit utopia. Wealth stronger than the smell of garlic. To look African but be nothing African, but I only dream of being a house pet. well fed, well housed, well lathered in care. Oh, how I dream of landing softly. More better ya tenekuto. As a manager, I worry more many. It want me a sister. Metatera, pray no. That's how could me your cousin. Me a babo se wale. You see what I'm trying to say? All that's living in my bones, mother, are just dreams. You see what I'm trying to say? All that's living in my bones, mother, are just dreams. We do not know what she looked like. How stretched her flesh was laid out on the husk of her being. How charred her eyes may have been. How clickety her laughter may have sounded. Or the elasticity of the jiggle in her behind when her feet landed on ground. We do not know which tribe she came from. Who her mother was. What language she may have spoken and which name she bore, we only know that if there was a palette of colours, she would have fallen anywhere between the darkest shade of black to the palest hue of brown. We only know that she was woman. Woman at a political rally, who claimed space on a soapbox, renamed herself in show of solidarity, slashed her cheeks with blade, smeared blood all over her body, and dared all the men present to follow suit, to demonstrate that their collective freedom was worthy of any skin-deep sacrifice. Ama Nkrumah, a name that did not belong to her, a voluntary erasure, but an erasure nonetheless. For what's a name to freedom? What's breaking of skin to a claiming of self? What's spilling of blood to a wholesome bond? What's a chance of being shamed to a people saved? You haven't been loved well enough until you've been loved like a man. Christ didn't come in the body of a woman because even he knew he wouldn't have lasted all 33 years with a mouth so holy and a tongue that sharp. When love stretched wide, it was only to make space for the redemption of men. When love starved, it was only because she dreamt of fed mouths. When love bled handfuls of pain, it damn sure was because there was no escaping it. When love offered dangling breasts at the temple of protest, it was only because she believed in a kinder tomorrow hard enough to be shamed for it. When love choked on apologies, it was only because peace was the greater offering. You haven't been loved well enough until you've been loved like a man.
And welcome back. So our next poet, of course, is a young performer right here in Nigeria. He is interesting, he's electrifying, he gives it his all, his heart and his soul. His name is Paul Ward.
Hey guys, welcome to Ake Festival 2020. It's an honor to be here today. It's an honor to share my poems with you all today. My name is Paul Ward. I have two poems today. The first one is titled How to Drown Death, while the second one doesn't have a name. So as you listen, may your spirit connect. The first time I saw Uche's dead body, it came in a picture. Legs disjointed as though trying to run away from the picture frame. Hands stretched forth like his last words were a prayer, a plea. A bargain that brought in knowing that he begged for his life while people stood and watched as his body was watered with fuel. As though his body meant with water a rose so it can be plucked. They say he wrestled when the fire kissed his body. Like a child trying to break free from a pedophile kiss, they say he screamed for help. But his cries met brick walls the way a distress call reaches the wrong end. He begged. An act he has mastered for years to survive, but he would learn that the mastery of begging is never enough when a man has to plead for his life. So yes, I know about death and the pain it brings. I write from a place of hope, hoping one day I'll be able to write this pain into a song, into people. Speaking of people, do you know I treat people same way I treat a rose? Love them for as long as they are willing to live. So tell me, teach me how to drown my tears before they drown me. The one shed for the people whose memories flow through my blood. These memories are like pictures. They never fit into the frame of my mind. See, I'm tired of carrying memories that should be bodies. Bodies that I should hug that I should never let go. But death has a way of turning bodies into memories. Isn't it funny that death is the last thing we need to make sense of our life? Like the last piece of a puzzle. See, I've lived long enough to know that setting a body on fire leaves scars on the soul, and no man should be able to possess such powers. The second time I saw Uche's dead body, it was on the street. Burnt tires on his remains. His skin too tired to reveal his pain. Blood on the floor like oil on canvas. A rehearsing of the realities of hell. Isn't that what life is? A dress rehearsal for death. Like I said earlier, this second poem has no title. So as you're listening, may your spirit connect. My eyes look like the aftermath of war. I carry a generation that drown while singing. They live within me, they are my cellmates. Their songs buried in my blood. Sometimes I feel the wave in me drifting between 1803 to 2020. Letters from Durban Creek, greetings from distant family. I come from a long line of musicians, a tribe of choir who walked on water. We learned to turn the ocean into a stage, watch the wave transform our voice into sound wave. We learned to walk on water before Peter had the revelation. We were the first resistance, the balance, a beacon of hope. Long before black held a gun against the white, we stood with fists clenched, eyes open, blood shot on that ship. We were the first to flip the script that we can rewrite this story. The Igbos, the red cap people. On that day, we stole the show, held hands together, marched like school boys and girls. We stole the show, turned it into a concert. Our songs echoing for generations to come. Our songs went on tour, taught it to blackies that no chain strong enough to hold your will. We were the first to make love with water, feel it run through our pores. Our bodies flew underwater, became monuments ashore. Bodies carrying names too difficult for the whites to call, so they called us slave. They say it was suicide, but we know the only song Kate best sing is freedom. So when we beat the Ogene, the ocean became a stepping stone to meet Archie. When we beat the Udi, Archie welcomed us with cola nuts. I know you think I'm not, that my ancestors lacked the God for a revolution. But what is black history written by the whites if not a fragment of the truth? I am the whole truth. And watch my father plant this seed. I'm the hyphen connecting to generations. Watch me bridge the gap, a complete sentence. So this is for the 75, to the undefined, to those who dance for the wave of the sea. I carry your breath in me, you live in me. So big Wana Udobang.
Welcome back. So we're still staying within the west of Africa. And our next poet is Jabir Malik.
J'étais avec un groupe de jeunes. Des jeunes très intéressants, des jeunes très intelligents, des jeunes très open comme on en voit maintenant. Alors en discutant, je leur ai posé la question qui revient très souvent, qu'aimerez-vous faire quand vous serez gros? Bien sûr, comme vous pouvez l'imaginer, c'était épatant. J'ai entendu des métiers que je connaissais même pas auparavant, des métiers du genre propriétaire d'argent, ou encore milliardaire important. Certains m'ont même dit VIP important, comme si VIP c'était pas suffisant. Bien sûr, il y avait des trucs raisonnables, genre président, vice-président. D'ailleurs, le gosse qui m'a sorti ça, je demande pourquoi vice-président? Vice-président? Il me fait non, mon grand-père s'occupera des 25%. Donc là, j'avais une petite idée sur qui étaient ses grands-parents, sûrement des gens très transparents. Bref, ils ont continué à me sortir des trucs sortis du néant, des trucs d'enfants, rien à voir avec l'argent. Mais s'il y a un gosse qui m'a marqué particulièrement, c'est ce gosse qui m'a dit « Moi, monsieur, je veux pas devenir grand ». Alors, étant le seul grand en face de ces jeunes gens, je me suis senti visé, obligé de défendre tous les grands qui n'étaient pas présents, donc j'ai commencé à sortir des arguments, prouvant que c'était trop cool d'être grand. Genre, quand tu es adulte, tu deviens indépendant. Plus besoin de vivre avec tes parents. Bon, même si c'est pas toujours le cas, tu peux les prévenir en attendant. Et pour rentrer en boîte, plus besoin de faire semblant d'avoir 18 ans pour être dedans. Et pour les filles, vous n'aurez plus à marchander l'heure du retour à la maison avec maman. Elle dormira tranquillement et vous, sans avoir à faire les ninjas, vous rentrerez avec une clé plus sûrement. Et je continue avec mes arguments. Essayons d'être plus pertinents. Ils me suivaient tous attentivement, tous. Sauf ce gosse qui voulait pas être grand. Je pouvais voir dans ses yeux que tout ceci n'était pour lui que perte de temps. Et pourtant, les autres enfants étaient assez contents, mais apparemment, c'était insuffisant. Bien sûr, ne connaissant pas l'attitude du perdant, je me suis ressaisi. Je me suis dit, attends, pour être prudent, on va y aller doucement, commencer par le commencement. Oui, parce que j'étais là, essayant d'être convaincant, alors que je connaissais même pas le pourquoi du comment. Donc, je demande à ce gosse, pourquoi tu veux pas être grand? Et il me répond, parce que je veux pas être méchant. Parce que je veux pas être méchant. Bon sang, mon sang n'a fait qu'un tour à cet instant. C'était comme si le temps s'était arrêté pendant très longtemps. Les images et les scènes envahissant mon subconscient. Des images d'hommes et de femmes traversant l'océan pour finir pendus dans des champs. Des images en noir et blanc de Martin Luther King assassiné juste parce qu'il voyait des noirs et des blancs sur un même banc. Sur un autre plan, on pouvait voir un petit homme à la moustache s'agitant, jurant d'exterminer tout ce qui n'était pas allemand. Je voyais des guerres et des conflits, décidant des parlements, des rebelles, entraînant des adolescents, drogués inconscients, leur forçant à tuer leurs propres parents, luttant pour un but inexistant si ce n'est le diamant échangé contre l'armement avec l'Occident. Des accidents déguisés en catastrophes naturelles, causés en expérimentant des domaines uniquement réservés aux tout-puissants. Des vautours puisant le pétrole de l'Orient, combattant contre l'axe du mal, composé de soi-disant musulmans se disant croyants alors qu'ils tuent des innocents. Des dictateurs, avides de sang, vidant le sang des opposants, terrorisant leurs propres habitants, ces mêmes habitants qui ont été confiants, pensant qu'ils auraient de bons représentants. Des présidents, rêvant de voir leurs fils leur succédant en nous insultant avec des trucs à la con, genre 25%. Des hommes et des femmes, célèbres et influents, revendiquant leur adoration pour Satan. Et pendant ce temps, au moment où je vous parle, la drogue laissée aux mains de dangereux trafiquants fait de nos jeunes des délinquants, des ignorants, des morts vivants, vivant dans la peur, craignant l'affrontement avec tout ce qui se passe autour d'eux réellement, à savoir les hommes et les femmes leur souriant cruellement. Jusqu'à aujourd'hui, j'ai toujours détesté les délestages, mais devant ces images, j'ai prié pour avoir des coupures de courant. Malheureusement, je vois toujours ces images défilant à travers des adultes négligents, oubliant que les enfants nous observent attentivement. Alors aujourd'hui, si ce gosse ne veut pas devenir grand, je le comprends. Parce que maintenant, tout ce que je souhaite, c'est redevenir un enfant. Slam.
Did you guys enjoy that? Well, we have so much more in store for you. Up next, we go to South Africa with Vangile.
Molweni, igama lam nguVangile Gancho, and I am a poet from South Africa. We are small girls, stitched with scars and love, draped into breadths of fabric, colored, patched, hemmed, cloths of moments, quilted into human. I am told my grandmother was a woman of the spirit, that the wind carried her off a cliff, flung her straight into the water, where I was born. Wrapped in the skin of a snake, I stayed underwater for 60 days before I met my mother. In a burning hut on the mountain she could enter only to fetch me and put me down, was allowed only to feed me, then return me to the fire, I'm told. My lungs are made of water. That a snake coils around my spine, and I carry hives of bees inside my breasts, I'm told. When a girl becomes a woman, she must leave her mother's house. Not be afraid of the wind and the cliff. She must learn to trust her breath under water. Mama and I have never truly touched. A God of Someone's God has always kept us apart. Her and her prayers, me in the water. Small girl sleeps next to her mother. 2 new moons that never touch. Mother is always holding her breath, even in her sleep. Small girl rubs calamine onto mother's eyelids. Plats 3, 5, 7 white beads into mother's hair. When mother awakes, small girl is snaked around her spine. Small girl with moths in her mouth. Speaks anger in glances, knows the dagger of words. Small girl, big voice. Moves in silence, knows how earthquakes begin. In the rumbling of her stomach, entire families collapse. Small girl cares too much for such a small girl. Small girl with treacherous eyes, carries too much feeling in her lungs, knows the sting of lonely. Small girl sees too much, breathes too much, takes up too much air. Small girl is too much mirror and expectation, too much wanting more. Small girl should know better than to try to fight the sun. Small girl with hands of spades. Small girl dreams too much, hopes too much, wants to plant and grow. Small girl thinks she is the ocean. Small girl is a stream. Small girl will break her heart with all this want. Small girl is not even the wind. Small girl must learn to swallow and be pretty. An old woman whispers into a small girl's navel, then wraps her neck with red and white beads. The old woman smears calamine on the small girl's forehead, under her left breast, between her shoulder blades. When small girl awakes, her eyes are glued together with tears. She learns to see in the dark. She can smell the rain coming. She knows a storm is brewing. Today, there is no black, no dark, no light. Today there are only blues and blood, hope and heart. A half-done face in a coffin. A brewing storm of small girls coming. A woman tries to rescue her daughter from a burning shack. All the shacks around her are on fire. She hunches herself over her daughter and carries all of her inside. By the time she reaches the tar road, the woman's dress has been burnt to her skin. Her daughter survives unharmed, pours a bottle of calamine out of her pocket, uses a piece of her own dress to dress her mother's wounds. She wraps a string of red and white beads around her waist and whispers into her navel a secret about a match. There is an old woman across the river. She is made of sand and fire, carrying a child on her back. I cannot reach her. She has burnt the river dry. The mud is buried, turned angry, swallows rocks and children who still believe in water. It has not rained in 2 full moons. Small girl is no longer a child. The old woman does not break her back carrying her. She carried rocks and built a house in another life. Small girl is singing. Tears are falling from her eyes. She is tired. Her feet do not know the ground. I tell the old woman to sit her into the river. Small girl's feet will bring peace between the burning sand woman and the water. We are small girls, stitched with scars and love, draped into breadths of fabric, colored, patched, hemmed, clots of moments quilted into human.
We're going all the way up north now to Morocco. This is Samira Negrouche. Enjoy.
Hi, my name is Samira Negrouche, speaking from Algiers, the White City, capital of Algeria. Des vies passent devant toi pendant que tu passes. Des arbres, des souffles, un réseau magnétique, des fils hors réseau, des fulgurances et des immondices, des dieux solaires et des obscurs, des habités et des inconscients, des pas encore criminels et des à jamais inoffensifs, qui se croient impuissants et qui baissent les yeux devant le monde qui tâche et qui hurle. Des rêves passent devant toi, qui ne savent pas où commence l'illusion, où se termine le ciel, pendant que tu passes. Lives pass by before you, while you pass by. Trees, breath, a magnetic network, wires outside the network, intensities and refuse, solar gods and dark ones, the inhabited, the unconscious, the not yet criminal, and the eternally inoffensive, who think themselves powerless and lower their eyes before a world that stains and howls. Dreams pass before you that don't know where illusion begins, where the sky ends while you pass by. J'ai habité un large sentier sur lequel se penchent les ombres, le flanc souple et docile à l'heure du coucher. J'ai habité une voie romaine qui garde fiévreuse la sueur de danseurs inconscients, les torses vêtus du soir. J'ai habité l'instant flexible d'un temps qui ne se fixe pas, sur une ville en sursis où la splendeur est la norme. J'ai habité de ne savoir où demain s'arrête. I lived on a wide path, shadows bent over it, their flanks supple and docile at the hour when the sun set. I lived on a Roman road that keeps the sweat of reckless dancers feverish, their torsos clad with nightfall. I lived in the flexible moment of a time that will not settle, on a reprieved city where splendor is the norm. I lived by not knowing where tomorrow ends. Je marche dans ton ombre, mais je ne pense pas tout le temps à toi. Je ne marche pas tout le temps sur les pavés de la Renaissance, dans des temples bénis ou des vergers millénaires. Des ciels me trempent la face, mon amour, et ce n'est pas de penser à toi, ni à la petite âme qui tend la main vers celle qui ne l'effleure pas, en attendant sagement les roues qui voudront bien l'effacer de ce désastre. Il pleut sur moi des pensées errantes qui semblent appartenir à d'autres, dont les ombres marchent sur moi. I walk in your shadow, but I don't think about you all the time. I'm not always walking on Renaissance cobblestones, in consecrated temples or millennial orchards. Skies drench my face, my love, and it's not from thinking of you, nor the little soul holding out a hand to the one who doesn't brush against it, sensibly waiting for the wheels that would gladly crush it out of this disaster. Errant thoughts rain on me that seem to belong to others whose shadows walk over me. Si tu savais le temps qui me traverse pendant que je traverse vers toi. If you knew the time that goes through me while I go toward you. Tu ne sais pas qui passe. You don't know who's going past. What remains? To begin each morning at the same hour, like starting from zero. To answer time's memory lost and the drift of ages. Your mother trembling, the genealogy of the worst, the disaster of the gods, to finish counting the remaining hours.
How you guys doing? How you feeling? Are you enjoying yourselves? I mean, I am gorging on words right now. I don't know about you. Our next performer is homegrown. He's from here, right here in Lagos. His name is Undukwe Onoha.
My name is Ifani Chukwu. Nothing is heavy for God. You see, where I come from, God is a sweet burden carrying our names. Chinonyelum, Chukudubim, Ikem Sinachi. And we had him on our lips way before we learned of his Goldilocks blue-eyed beauty. Way before we buried Anna in the earth and cast a shadow on the moon, we built our bodies as his temple. CBD, Uli. Stretched our skins as parchment upon which we wrote his laws. Like signposts, our bodies marked the Passover. Touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. This was our Gethsemane. But as the oil of gladness poured over our olive bodies, the messengers of the one true God washed ashore in their humble might. Asked us to kneel in prayer. Said the Lord was our shepherd. Reminded us how we wanted for nothing under the power of his terrible might. We were assured of safety. And by the time we said amen, they had our land and we had their Bibles. Sprawled out like missionaries, ready to do the work for which we had been bred. We were a new creation, one set for his master's bidding. Dead to our past, our names became an abomination to be spat out like ujiri seeds. So here we stand, a faithful generation that doesn't know its name. So ignorant of our ignorance, the taste of palm oil is foreign to our lips and proverbs have no taste. But we had God in our hearts once. And in each sentence we spoke his name each day like an incantation at dawn. Ibolachi, Chinyeluko, Echidime, tomorrow is pregnant. For who knows the belly that will birth the king or the tree that will hang his body? Who will reach into the dark place and bring forth the light that we may find our way? Who will speak our names with conviction or march into the sea when all else fails? who will remind my people of our beauty, of secrets etched in our souls like graffiti on sacred wood, who will say our name so that we may remember, who will say your name, who will say my name, who will remember. At the arrival lounge of an international airport, you will see it. A black sea of migrants. Wave after wave, it pours into this white shore of hope. A desperate attempt at cleansing itself from a history it would rather soon forget. But if you've ever been to the beach, you know that the sea always swallows its own. And on this day, the black tide recedes. Palms outstretched to the back of a returning tide. Noses turned away for fear of recognizing a particular scent. Home is a stench that must be forgotten. But I will remind you. I will scar you with memories of home like deep-set travel marks. Peel away at those layers that have become you. Your nice clothes, your jewelry, your fake accents, your children who do not know the taste of fresh spun proverbs, your early morning runs, your midnight snacks, the ever-present assurance that everything will be okay. They will not be okay. They will never be okay. For no matter how far you run, how many skins you wear, how many memories you bury in the quicksands of time, I will still be here reminding you of home. Of the white ram with lightning in its teeth and thunder in its eyes. Of the tortoise that rode the back of the elephant and dined in the skies. Do you remember who you are? Do you remember why we sing when we take our children back into the belly of Annie? Or call our full names when we speak? Do you remember why we pour libation when we pray? Or mark our bodies with chalk? Do you remember who you are? Or did you fall out of the ocean? Cling with bleeding fingernails to the sands on the beach as you crawled your way to a foreign land and the trickster sell you a lie? Do you answer to new names now? Speak with new tongues now? Speak on the memories of home, hack away at your family tree. Do you still remember your roots? Have you forgotten? Or have you never known that Chukwu is the creator? Igwe is the heaven. And you can't find Chi by reading tea leaves. Whose history do you embrace? Home is not a destination on a tall map. Home is in your heart. So wear it on your skin. Carve it on your soul. And when they ask you what you will be called, look them in the eye and say, Amadi, Mwafo, Mwachuku. Or just tell them your name.
Welcome back. For our next performer, I fell in love with her work when I heard her poem, Take Up Space. You should go check it out. She's from Uganda by way of Bristol. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Vanessa Kisule.
Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa Kisule. I am a writer and performer based in the UK. I want to say huge greetings to everyone watching from all over the world. I'm really honoured to be a part of this. And this is part of the Ake Arts and Book Festival. And I'm really, really excited to read some poems for you. So, this first poem is called Auntyhood. It is not, nor was it ever, about the crass fact of blood. There's aunts and there's aunties. Diaspora kids heed the difference. Just so ratio of hip to metronome earring. Musky hugs and nimble fingers tipped in glittering plum. Sometimes, but not often, your father's sister. More likely your mum's loud but grudgingly favoured friend. Some uncle's not so secret mistress turned community seer sat in the sagging sofa's mouth. She's gossip drunk. Hips water falling from her jeans. Slander on another auntie visits her tongue, leaves oily stains on the Persian rug. If you have to ask if she is or isn't, then she's not. Know that auntyhood can't be forced or coaxed into the spirit. One day you are simply summoned, refashioned in cut glass kindness, kissed teeth, and razor tut. And continuing on with the theme of family and particularly women within the family, I want to do a piece called Jaja, which means grandmother in Uganda. My family are all from Uganda. If there are any Ugandans tuned in, hey, fellow Ugandan here. So yeah, this is dedicated to her, and it goes like this. I do not know you. I've composed you of dress cotton and banana leaves, these patchwork quilts of quiet smiles and stories I couldn't understand. And as I hold your hands, I know they've known more work in this past hour than mine will in their entire lifespan. And I see the hardship of 1,000 winds that have blown across your face. So I trace a map of apologies across the fault lines of your fingers and hope some ghost of my meaning lingers. And you're a goddess. I see your shoulder blades pressed together where your wings once met, and yet we can only exchange awkward nods of acknowledgement because my world does not slot into yours, though I crawl on all fours for meager scraps of my identity, endlessly grieving each mistranslation or misunderstanding, misinterpretation, each seismic shift in time. I'm always inventing you through a generation gone by. And as we sit in silence, seedlings of the same wizened tree I can imagine, I'd tell you of the short skirts girls in England wear and the joys of stupid things like the Jeremy Kyle show and pizza the morning after the night before. I'd ask of the past, the laughter shared and the songs once sung, what my mum was like when she was young, if I weren't trapped with the handicap of this British tongue. I imagine all the talks we'd have, tucked in a candlelit cave, cradled in a culture clash, hoping that the Tower of Babel might bleed into oblivion and somehow a tainted miracle might unfurl. We'd have been the best of friends in a different world. But I do not know you. I've composed you of dress cotton, banana leaves, patchwork quilts of quiet smiles and stories I'm never gonna understand. And in this land of lost language, I am neither stranger nor native. The weight of these wasted words cannot be translated. And then I'm going to finish with one really quick one about daffodils, which is a common flower here that's originally from Wales. And it goes like this. I don't know if the reincarnation gods are taking requests, but in the next life, I'd like to come back as a daffodil, custard adjacent signal of spring, insatiably butter dish bright and brazen, baby, brazen as a fart at a funeral. No one will tell me diddly, cause who in their right mind chastises a daffodil? My trumpet head will point to the empty throne in the sky as I shoplift joy from the soil. If you must pluck me from my home, I promise not to wilt until you reach your silent house, and you can place me in a mug of water by the window. We'll both pretend it is an act of kindness. Thank you so much.
We're not finished yet. We're going down to South Africa again. Our next performer is Afura Khan.
I'm not a reasonable man. Neither are the times. Guerrillas are dining with commandos, sucking milk and honey from their offspring. Mandela's Rainbow Compromise, a black economic empowerment scheme proudly sponsored by the vineyards of Stellenbosch. A Mampur hangover with a hot 10 tots breakfast. A stillborn miracle. A miracle still being born. Father, in whose heart I am fashioned, feared is your name. Your will never again be done on earth where you left your prodigal son. Give me today the courage to speak your sins in public. Forgive my male transgressions as I have had to forgive myself for yours. Lead me not to pay tricky, and deliver me from rape and wars. For yours is the semen, the trauma of women. Never, ever again. The cycle is broken. Amen. One black woman, black man only sees ass, flesh to devour, the thicker the better, a thing to have for the night, a sex doll to deflate and put back in the secret closet. Black man thinks black woman in a miniskirt is begging, loose, a tease, playing hard to get, then calls her unspeakable things. Black man can kill with his mouth. Black man thinks black woman cannot love other women, that only black man is entitled to black woman. Black woman belongs to black man. You will be a woman when I'm done. Black man hunts black woman in the night like predator to prey. Black woman prays and hopes black man won't rape daughters today. Black man knows nothing of birth, makes that black woman's problem. Black man is once a year visit. Black man keeps leaving. Black man is a beast, a cannibal eating his young, the terror of childhood dinners, burping out ghosts of broken women. Black man breaks a home with his hands, the dishes, the furniture, and black woman too. A breathing, heaving hurricane. Black woman is collateral debris. Black man is ugly as sin, beyond his skin to his demons within. These are the sins of our fathers. Let Judgment Day begin. Organic skin, digital DNA, processed and packaged, boxed and barcoded, microchipped, microwaved brains, fully installed with the latest ignorance, plug and play slave mentality, Wi-Fi enabled inferiority complex, charges included, Black Friday special with free delivery, no refund, no liberty, neither acre nor mule. In the event of factory defects, like self-consciousness, press reset button on the back of neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Chokehold to reboot. Product has a shelf life. Use and dispose. Made of rubble. Black lives are 100% biodegradable.
916 Carol, 916 Carol, receiving 10-10 shots fired at that location. 916 Carol.
Trigger warning. Black child heavily armed with a biscuit. Trigger warning. Black child firing skittles. Trigger warning. Black child mute to death. Trigger warning. Black child wearing explosive hoodie. Shoot to kill. Shoot to kill. Over.
5358, we're 84. 10-4.
Welcome back. So, our next performer is the son of the soil, but is also a Londoner. His name is Yomi Shode.
The first poem I'm going to share with you is titled The Haunting of Damilola. The news broke about a Nigerian boy stabbed and bleeding to death. Dumbfounded, the elders were not able to explain their newfound confusion. A Nigerian child dying on foreign land. It felt as though a force field had lifted. Panic was the resounding sermon preached in churches. Pastors blamed England of a haunting that had elders fasting between 20 and 50 days. A Nigerian boy had died and they never saw it coming. The mothers grieved for the mother whose son's life was taken unexpectedly. Their anxiety sewed minute eyes in the backs of their sons' heads while sleeping. The boys becoming burdens of their mothers' migrant stories. Beatings were often given if their backsides arrived late from school. Their bodies not taught enough at 15. Each lash from the belt throbbing through clothes. Each son holding back tears to prove their manliness. Reminding their mothers that they were not Damilola who died. Without realizing a haunting held the belt. A fear of worried mothers wondering if they prayed hard enough. That the sting from their children's scars would bring them home. One evening, the police called my mother, telling her a gang of boys attacked me outside of my workplace, telling her the gang left me slumped on the floor, took all my possessions, my house keys, my car keys, and wallet. Later, they moved her out of the house for safety. Men she did not know entered our house and changed our locks while she was driven to the hospital, praying to a God that saw this haunting coming to keep her only son alive. The next poem I'm going to share with you is titled The Preparation. This is dedicated to my big mummy, my grand aunt, who sadly passed of cancer last year, December last year. I then went on to write a sequence which details everything that I processed and everything that happened throughout throughout me finding out the news, right up to the point of her funeral. And this poem is taken from the sequence and is titled The Preparation. Big Mummy is weak, so weak that we take turns keeping her awake, timing ourselves every 20 minutes, not wanting to lose her to the night. We are being selfish now. We are not ready. The lying doctor told us a week, so a week it shall be. 10 minutes. Mummy speaks to you about the next phase. She tells you to start thinking about the funeral and how you would like things to be. That's a lot to ask of you at 23, I think, but our tradition thinks differently. Children be fetching water aged 6, be dealing with fire and cooking rice aged 11. So of course, you be grown enough to start making these decisions. The hairs on your balls ain't for fashion, rude boy. 15 minutes. The second pastor arrives. greeting us in this time of difficulty. A Nigerian man looking as sharp as I do in a suit. He is tall, married, with an aura that intrigues me. I hold my silence in respect of you, though I have things I want to say. Every stranger in this room thus far has shown us empathy, and all I want is for my big mommy to be better. He hovers over her, instructs you to play some gospel music, then calls us in for prayer. 20 minutes. Pastor slowly leans into Big Mommy's ear, as if whispering an incantation between her and the gods. Mommy, can you hear me? Nod if you can hear me. I'm thinking, she cannot move, bro. Say something else, like, can't you see her position and her situation? What would make you want to ask that? Pastor then asks, Mommy, do you give yourself to Christ? Nothing. Pastor asks again, Mommy, do you give yourself to Christ? Through the stillness of her body, Big Mommy raises and drops a single knee in response. Let us pray. Pastor leaves the room to attend to another service after his prayer. I can see the sadness in his face for you. I want to come with you, but this is a relationship you cultivated outside of me. For once, I am in your world. You are not the boy I first met at 11, with no clue to this here Britain. The boy I took to KFC, who sat with me and my girl. The black boy, too shy to eat the chicken in front of us. The black boy I feared this here Britain would devour. The final poem I would like to share with you is titled An Embalming of a Conqueror. Thank you, Ake, for this amazing opportunity. Before touching him, tell them to leave. Tell them they have done enough. When removing the rope, cushion his head in your palm with one hand, close his eyes with the other. Now carry him away from the shame to his home. Begin in his obi by washing with spring water. Wash him as he would his children. Be forgiving of his choices. Leave no area on his body dry. Scrub the plight off him. Say, I am not the cause of your death. Repeat this to not see him in your dreams. Unfurl his hands. Wipe the sin he last touched. Then lay him on the mat for dressing. Rub the embers of gin into his skin. Rest your arm under the arc of his back. Turn him on his side. Keep rubbing. Feel the weight his own life could not hold. Tie cloth around his head and both legs. Do this to soothe the body's transition. Light the hururu to heat the mat. Now open his mouth slightly. Place a coin between his teeth. Leave the coin for 2 days to rid the odor from within and stay awake. Awake through the drumming of his life outside. Awake through the dancing of the igugu. Protect his body from insects and rodents. From them. Until night sheds its skin and his spirit ascends in honor.
Another very special performer, someone very dear and close to my heart, all the way from Sudan, by way of London too. Her name is Ola El Hassan.
A golden shovel for a lost time. أمي قالت لي الجمل ما بيشوف عوجة رقبته. Ancestors, rejoice. I give back the pressure of years you spent on the back of a camel, crossing the desert. Lost time doesn't heal my current sorrows. Your misplaced trinkets only remind me of the thirst under nights, cooled by the twist of fate when clouds turn out to be capable of keeping us warm. The night sky doesn't know its own beauty. A star has no one to mirror its own light. I need an assurance that doesn't squeeze when adorning my neck. Unnamed song. He asked, "How do I love you?" I said, "Mesmerize me." More than this voice, how it moves forward while rotating along itself. An axis shooting for the stars. When they ask you R&B or rap, point to this and say soul. Say boxless, say limitless, say infinite expansion, binaries. Say no. Melodies do not separate themselves into perpendicular vacuums. Say human hearts all beat, all have rhythms, all connect to the one thing I can't point at. I try and feebly say humanity, but I can't find proof. I try again and say spirit, but don't know how to name it. Some say love. I say never-ending quest for freedom. They ask, what's that? I point to this and say music.
Welcome back. We've gone to Kenya, South Africa, Uganda, by way of London. We've gone to Morocco, and now we're going to Kenya with Sitawa Namwali.
Tears, a tribute to Kimpa Vita. I tucked my tears behind my ears the way you do your hair, and I held them. They sat waiting for me, brimming on the edge of my eyelids, but they did not spill over. My tears are obedient now, and there will be time. So, I cleansed myself, taking care to excavate my navel. You know how dirt gathers there? I gave attention to each minuscule detail until I was purified. And when I was ready, my grandmothers came to me. My grandmothers came to me with bold eyes speaking words only I can decipher. They came to me, rustling in the wind, murmuring in the voices of many rivers. My grandmothers came to me with words of affirmation. Yes, they said, it is time. And my tears, ever obedient, flowed over my eyelids with the might of the river Congo. And so, with my visions clear again, I set off in search of my heroes. I picked them up one by one. In the kingdom of Congo, I found Kimpa Vita. Kimpa Vita, born in 1684. Kimpa Vita, burnt at the stake in 1706. The fire was deliberately set. Who would burn a 22-year-old African girl at the stake? Why? Kimpa Vita, I am her mother. I see her bound body standing upright. Kimpa Vita, I am her father. I see her feet tied to a dry mahogany post. Kimpa Vita, I am her sister. I see her hands stretched over her head. Kimpa Vita, I am her brother. I see her immortal spirit soar above the hungry flames. She will not be contained. Kimpa Vita, we are the multitude. We see her eyes. They seek no mercy. Our daughter has the eyes of an angel already in paradise. She will leave no tears behind. Kimpa Vita, those who stand guilty of corruptions against history dare to charge our daughter with a crime. No, no. Let the bloodline resurrect the voice of history. Let the centuries bear witness. Let us turn this crime the right way up. It's been lying on its head for 400 years. They call me Kimpa Vita. I am the mother of a revolution 400 years in the making. This is my story. I was born into a noble family in the kingdom of Congo. I trained as a Ganga Marinda, a healer of evil, an intermediary between life and death, a bridge between the living and we, the ancestors. I was born into a world exploding with turmoil. War, murder, rape, broken families, strangers invading our minds, bringing ever more ways to die, and using every weapon I could find, I, Kimpavita, for a moment held back the tides of time. First, I stopped my people from communing with marauding strangers. I could see greed flaming in their eyes. They lusted after the prodigious fruits of our land. They salivated at the stature of our bodies. I could see they wished our inventiveness. They wished to turn us into docile cows. I knew what we were up against, and I stopped smiling. To rebuild the esteem of my people, I led them into rebuilding the kingdom of Congo. To rebuild the esteem of my people, we returned Banza Congo, our capital, to its former splendor. And then we cleared the invading forest and watched abundance walk back to the hearth of a broken. But all this was a prelude to my ultimate inoculation against the alchemy unleashed to crush the very souls of my people. I, Ganga Marinda, I called on the powers of my ancestors. They sent me visions. I went to paradise. I saw black saints walking hand in hand with white saints before God. I had visions. I saw the true intentions of the marauding strangers. I became a prophet. I prophesied to anybody who would hear me. My followers swelled in number. My people grew in courage. That is when the Portuguese Catholics burnt me at the stake. I am guilty. And then, when I was gone, these strangers unleashed their worst on my people. They spread their horrors all over a whole continent. For 400 years, they held us captive. But was I ever really gone? I was always there, in the voice of your grandmother. I was there in the rustling of the wind and in the voices murmuring of many rivers. And now I return. Now I return with a bloodline, speaking words of affirmation. Yes, it is time. It is time.
Welcome back. I hope you're not tired of seeing my face yet, because I have another exciting poet to share with you. She's a dear friend, a sister. Her words just give me nothing but joy. And I know they'll give you that too. Ladies and gentlemen, from Lagos, by way of Canada, this is Titilope Shonuga.
These poems are how I work through the fear and worry of our present time and find hope on the other side. If we knew the cobweb-thin line between here and the hereafter, we would greet each moment with an amen, a hallelujah. If we knew how bones snap like small dried sticks, we would recognize the mercy in each movement. We would dance like there is no tomorrow because there might not be. We would praise this present body for it's too much, for it's too little. Praise the soft swell of skin. Praise every mangled, crooked scar. My God, if we knew how fickle, how paper thin the skin, we would praise the spirit, greet it in reverence. I would love you urgently. We would be painfully sweet to one another. Hold each kiss like a small prayer. We would take it all off and say, I love you. Say, do you know that I am hurting too? Say, yesterday I couldn't get out of bed, or yesterday I woke up in a strange bed, or yesterday I didn't want to wake up at all. Say, I am terrified of falling, of failing, of not trying at all, I know. So I press these little poems into your ears. I hope they bloom for you just in time. I hope that you know that what I'm saying is stay. Nothing would be the same without you. What I'm saying is dream a little while longer. And I know it gets dark sometimes, but they say that the wound is where the light enters you, so I'm asking you to stay open. Across the world, black bodies genuflect on sidewalks to a God that is all brimstone and fire. Their chorus, a hallelujah of bullets, a Red Sea deep enough for their mothers to swim in. They said he looked like a serial offender. There was too much Africa in his skin. Something about the way he walked screamed rape and pillage. The way he pulled that wallet quick out of his pocket, it might as well have been a bullet. Amadou Diallo, trigger warning. How dare he roar with a laughter so big, joy he didn't have to pay for, teeth a row of defiant white, and now his bride is wailing in her wedding dress. Grief is a bitter liquor that will bring you to your knees. 50 shots, no chaser. Sean Bell, trigger warning. To a black woman, a safe space might as well be a metaphor. So she carries her body like an apology, turned inward from a gaze that is not her lover's. She is accustomed to the rise of the hairs on the back of her neck in response to the scent of danger in the wind, even in her wounded hour. Death could still be waiting on the other side of that door. Knock, knock. Who's there? Bernicia McBride. Trigger warning. They said he walked, said he ran, that it was frightening the way he did exactly as he was told. They said he reached, said he didn't reach, said she moved, said she didn't move, said she talked back, said she wouldn't say a word, said even a black boy child wasn't child enough to sit in the broad light of an afternoon in a car seat with gums still too soft to whisper the words for surrender like, please, officer, don't shoot. They said cell phones kill too. Skittles become hand grenades, wallets become daggers, and did you know black women fly? Are prone to levitating in prison cells to slip their necks into nooses they tie with just their teeth. All that black girl magic defies gravity, defies physics, defies police officers who play God. It turns to rage in the bones, and black bones liquefy, slip out of handcuffs, pop locking. They dare move through the trigger's warning. They dare dance in bodies that charm a bullet out of its chamber to sit between their eyes. Black joy looks too much like joy, too much like God, too much like praise. So give them a chorus, a hallelujah of bullets. Flood the streets with the Red Sea deep enough for their mothers to drown in. And what about the days when there are no words? And it feels like all of this will turn to dust before me. What about the days when the fog is thick, when I am reminded that I am small and the world is so big? Days with more questions than answers, days that say, give me your ideas, and I will spin them down a rabbit hole of doubt, mangle them with worry until you no longer recognize them. Yes, will work. Tomorrow, when the fear is more quiet, when it doesn't weigh down so heavy, when its teeth aren't so sharp. See, creating is such dangerous work. You should rest, save your strength, go to sleep, and just keep dreaming. But I am told that there is a garden where wildflowers grow free. The sun shines endlessly there, and in the heat, A breeze will fall upon you like a grandmother's hand to your forehead. In this garden, the soil is rich and ready, and we are not fearful there. We do not put our dreams in the ground to be buried. We plant them to bloom in spectacular colors. So on the hardest days, I imagine that I am in the garden, showering the earth with all of my best intentions. If I am lucky, a thin blade will push through to remind me of what is worth fighting for. This boy, with deep brown eyes that search mine for answers, he wants to know that he is safe, that he is loved. He thinks that I keep the whole world spinning, and I owe him my courage. I owe him a world in which passion persists. So on the days when there are no words, I let the silence wash over me. I do not give in to the panic. I cry, I pray, and then I try again tomorrow. Thank you.
And we're almost at the end of the poetry segment of Ake Arts and Books Festival 2020. I feel so sad. But I'm gonna leave you on a high note. And of course, none other than dub poet extraordinaire from Jamaica, Canada, now living in London. Enjoy Debbie Anita Africa.
John 9 tell them, say this is a warning and we know. Care where you come from, it's a new dawning. Tell the people of the world. Tell the people of the world. Revolution's rising. Look to the east and the west. It depend the horizon. Me say, tell your friend, tell your mother, tell your cousin, we're a new generation. We're not afraid of nothing. We want with liberation. Emancipation. We want with liberation. Emancipation. Me friend, me say, we go to school 5 days of the week, relearning the fiction of their stories written from the position of a them victory. But a pure lie, them a tell. So won't you step in my class? I met me tell you about the past. A new lesson for today. To save our people of tomorrow. Row. A time for we decolonize. Woman and a man say we must realize it's a broken legacy we are legitimize when we keep our eyes closed and act surprised. There's a liquor fella up on the street. Him a pack a little neat. Uzi, he's a ghetto youth with few options. Him say gang a him family. Watch him go out in a blaze of glory. You remember when we used to play in the dirt, and the boy them used to lift up with skirts. Dandy shandy, hide and seek, spin the buckle, get a kiss on the cheek and flirt. Now you see the youths, them a come, you have to splurt. Open up a fire, everyone bite the dirt. Him have a big hole gun, him want to have fun. Him don't know that him time soon come. Him don't know that him time soon come. Me say, him don't know that him time soon come. Him don't know that him time soon come. Me say, John 9 tell them, say this is a warning and me no care where you come from. It's a new dawning. Tell the people of the world. Tell the people of the world, revolution's rising. Look to the east and the west. It depend the horizon. And my friend, tell your friend, tell your mother, tell your cousin, we're a new generation. We're not afraid of nothing. We want with liberation, emancipation. We want with liberation, emancipation. Me friend, me say, we go to school 5 days of the week, relearning the fiction of their stories written from the position of a them victory. But a pure lie, a pure lie, a pure lie. a pure lie. Them a tell, so won't you step in my class? Let me tell you about the past. A new lesson for today. To save our people of tomorrow, a time for we decapitalize. Woman and man say we must realize it's a broken legacy we are legitimize when we keep our eyes closed and act surprise. Little Mary Sue says she want blue eyes. Ask her why and she started to cry. My cousin Eileen, she gets the ice cream because her skin is light brown and pretty. Pretty. You remember when we used to play Dolly House? You are the mother, me are the mother. Said the shade of whiskey, no, it never matter. Well, now Mary Sue is 13. She's old enough to buy skin lightening cream and be nothing no la skin lightener. Said she bleach out her skin so she can be whiter. Bleach out her skin so she can be lighter. Bleach out her skin so she can be better in the future. Skin cancer. My friend in the future, skin cancer. My friend in the future, skin cancer. My friend, me say, John 9 tell them, said this is a warning, and me no care where you come from, it's a new dawning. Tell the people of the world, revolution's rising. Look to the east and the west, sit there upon the horizon. Me say, tell your friend, tell your mother, tell your cousin, we're a new generation, we're not afraid of nothing, we want with liberation. Emancipation, we want with liberation. Emancipation, we want with liberation. Emancipation, me say. A time for we decolonize. A time for we decapitalize. A time for we open up our eyes. A time for we decolonize. Decolonize, decapitalize, open up your eyes, a time for we open up our eyes. Who amongst us carries the sage secrets of loving, 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 loving? Our elders, our children, the ones who walk with the old-time knowledge of a healing love, an unapologetic love, an uncompromising love, our honest love. If you tell me who I will sit studently by the rivers of their feet, washing away all this unknowing that I have come to know, relearning a language of honesty and integrity and compassion. These languages were carved on our heart's tongue by ancient ones who somehow we have forgotten. It's like somewhere between a dream and a timelessness across the ocean waters, our sons and daughters, our mothers and fathers, our auntie, uncle, sister and brother, they stretched love's fabric thick and thin. So now here you are, I am, we are trying to heal these scars of wars, to heal these scars of broken fiber that stick up inside our like maca. Like maca. Who amongst us carries the sage secrets of loving? Where are our elders? Where are our children, the ones who walk with the old-time knowledge of a healing love, an unapologetic love, an uncompromising love, our honest love? Love. Love. If you tell me who I will sit studently by the rivers of their feet, because I want to unlearn all of this unknowing that I have come to know. I want to relearn a language of integrity. I want to relearn a language of compassion, of honesty. Were these languages not carved on our heart's tongue by ancient ones who somehow, sometime, you, I, me, have we all forgotten? Have we? Have we? Have we? Forgive me. Forgive me for not having loved you relentlessly. In all cases, fear has been my worst enemy. Were fear not here, I would kiss you. And I would feed you food from my soul. And I would stop you from aching, and I would share a smile. I would even wait with you by the roadside for a while. Were fear not here, I would give name to all the unnamed spaces of accountability and responsibility that flows like rivers between us. Sometimes silent, but always deep. Were fear not here. The full moon radiance of your vulnerable and warrior spirit washing over me like the sun bathed in truth would mirror, and I would shine and you would shine and we all would shine, because we all can shine and we all do shine brilliantly. So who amongst us carries those sage secrets of loving? Forgive me. I cannot promise to love you fearlessly, not when there is fear all inside and around me, but I can love you courageously. I can love you courageously. I can love you. I can love you. I can love you. I can love you courageously. In spite of all my fears, I can love you with honesty. I can love you with integrity, because love is a healing. Is love not a healing love? Love is a healing, rebranching itself like the roots of an ancient enchanted tree in a magical forest whose roots reach beyond these wounds, those wounds, our collective wounds of yesterday, wanting to reach into tomorrow. Is love not a healing love? Love whose branches are outstretched, roots reaching deep. Love. Love. Who are we? We the family, we the community, we the village, we the country, we the continent, we the world, the planet, the universe, we the omniverse, we the multiverse, we. Who are we? You and I. We are everything, and we are nothing. We are everything, and we are nothing. So, what will you do with your time? Your time between the first breath and the last breath. Love. Love one. Love one. Love.
I hope you've enjoyed our lineup of incredible poets from around the world, telling us that it's our time for joy, it's our time for laughter, it's our time to fight, it's our time to raise our voices, it's our time to be counted, it's our time to be present, it's our time to be visible. It is African time. My name is Wana Udobang, and I look forward to seeing you all next year, 2021. Peace. Sticky, spicy, sweet.
I want to go there. Don't touch me.
I will get you arrested. Very, very easy. Relax, everybody!
He shot you!
That 5 minutes madness only you can understand. Visit myspectre.com to get your Spectre experience. Spectre, loans in 5 minutes.
If you ever need a new place to go, you can join me in a world of words. When it seems like I'm nowhere to be found, if you look, you'll find me in a book. Let's take a ride to the past in the back of a phoenix. Let's float around the moon. You'll never be alone, now you know where to look. Find me, find you, find the world in a book. You'll never be alone, now you know where to look. Find me, find you, find the world in a book.
We don't just think of ourselves as a bank. We think of ourselves as corporate citizens with responsibility for growing the economy. Reading and education is a key part of it. But equally important is having access to reading materials at home. A lot of the intervention we've done throughout this COVID is to ensure that people can safely navigate the uncertainties of the COVID crisis and come out of it ready for, to live again.
Let's take a ride to the past in the back of a phoenix. Let's float around the moon.
The dreams that we have are limited by what we have directly interacted with. What reading does is it makes it possible for you to begin to live in worlds that don't yet exist. One read creates a discipline of reading. One read puts me on a timeline. It gives me an important book and I have an opportunity to read it and to collaborate. It's almost like having someone who does your book selection for you. If you have editors and people who are really good at this saying to you, this is the book for the month, I value that. I want to be able to read in a community. I want reading to be a collaborative thing. I want reading to be a communing, and One Read allows me to do that. I will use One Read any day, anytime.
Stranger's Guide is not a typical American travel magazine. Our mission is to dive deep into a single location, commissioning work from great writers and photographers, famous individuals, as well as up-and-coming new voices. This year, we decided to go to Lagos. And we are proud of the volume we produced, with original work from some of Nigeria's best writers and photographers, working with luminaries like Wale Soyinka, Molara Wood, and Femi Kuti. We think this is a very special volume, and we're so excited to bring it back to Lagos.